All right, gang. The attendance was 17,559, sold out. The gate was 5.12 million. Highest grossing sporting event in the arena's history. Fight of the night was Mosvar versus Lopez, and performance of the night went to Jan and Frivola. They all won 50,000. What's up, buddy?
Obviously, Dana, fun main event, technical main event, close main event. How did you score it in the final fight of the night?
Yeah, I had Aljo winning the fight.
Yeah, but still close, right?
Very close fight, yeah.
What did you think of Henry's performance after 3 years away from the
Incredible. Yeah, I'm a big believer in ring rust, and not only did he fight 5 tough rounds against a guy much bigger than him, he looked good.
And then for Aljamain, it looked like initially Henry might have the wrestling advantage, but Aljo was able to take his back a couple of times, get the hooks in. What was your reaction?
Yeah, one of the things that impresses me about Henry Cejudo is, like the Marias fight, after the first round I said, ooh, Henry's in trouble tonight. And then he makes these adjustments and comes back in the second round and looks unbelievable. So, I thought both guys fought a hell of a fight.
Before this fight, we were talking about whoever wins, it does something for their legacy, right? For Aljo, it cements him as being one of the best bantamweights of all time. Do you think after that performance that is fair, that he is one of the best in history?
Yeah, it was a big win for him. It was obviously a big win. There's a lot of, like I said, leading up to this fight, there's the Peter Yan fight, and then there's the Dillashaw fight, and, going in and grueling it out for 5 rounds with Henry Cejudo. Regardless of the weight and size difference, it's a big deal to beat Henry.
You usually don't make fights on the night of the fight.
But you're going to ask me anyway?
Well, I feel like it's fair to say Sean O'Malley's probably next for Cejudo-Sterling, right? I mean,
that what?
That Sean O'Malley might just be next for Aljo.
Yeah. I've had better ideas than what I did tonight. Not a great idea, but yes, he's next.
Yeah, when you bring him into the cage and they have the face-off, and then you slowly see it start to escalate with Merab, do you just think, I shouldn't?
Yeah. It was a bad idea.
Do we have any sort of timeline on when we'd like to do that fight?
Yeah, probably August.
Okay. In Boston?
Probably.
Okay, cool. Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad. Bilal got the win. Gilbert looked to be fighting kind of injured. I'm curious of your reaction to that fight.
Yeah, he had a tear in his shoulder. I think it was that first scramble on the ground there when he took him down, and he's got a tear. Yeah. And
we're safe to say Bilal is fighting the winner of Leon versus Colby.
And what's that?
Bilal.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and the last one for me, I wanted to sort of give some props to Diego Lopez. Stepped in on 5 days' notice against Mosvar, nearly tapped him in the first round, fought really hard in the third round. On 5 days' notice, pretty impressive.
Awesome. Incredible performance. Kid's got a ton of heart. He's an absolute dog. Loved every minute of it, yeah.
And what did we think of his haircut?
Well, listen, he fought so good, let's leave his haircut alone. Go ahead.
Dana, I want to ask about Yan Xiaonan. Obviously, a great finish of Jessica Andrade. We had her back here, and I was asking her how big a fight between her and Zhang could be for China. Do you have any insight on the metrics of maybe you can't do it there right now, but what could that do for that market that you guys have been continuing to push into?
What's crazy is Teddy Atlas was sitting with me during that fight, and Andrade kept throwing lead left hooks. And he says, if she keeps, this girl throws great straight right hands. If she keeps throwing that lead left hook, she's going to knock her out with a straight right. And he literally called exactly what was going to happen. And she threw 3 hooks in a row. He literally called it 2 minutes before it happened because she kept throwing these lead left. He says, when people are sparring and they're throwing lead left hooks like that against somebody who can throw, I literally jump in the ring and tell them to stop. And I break up the whole sparring and break it down. But he literally called that was going to happen. I don't know what we're going to do with Yan, where she's going to go, but I'm definitely going to look at China. Yeah.
You could potentially go back to China and do an event there. Wow.
I'm looking at that right now.
And what did you think of Crone Gracie tonight?
I like Crone a lot, and he's a good kid. He came in very limited tonight, very limited. It was like coming out of a time capsule in 1995, you know what I mean? Tough way to try to win a fight these days.
Yeah, 30th anniversary, you'd never think you'd kind of see that.
Well, the kid's got a ton of heart. He's got a good chin. I like him, and I don't want to shit on his performance, but yeah, that was a rough game plan.
Yeah, and on the featured prelim, Matt Frivola, great finish, first person to knock out Drew Dober in like 12 years or something. He keeps calling out Patty. He wants this fight real bad. I know Patty's nursing some injuries, but is he a guy maybe you look at to grant that wish?
I have no idea. I mean, all these fights at that level are all about timing. You know what I mean?
And last thing, nothing to do with this card, but the last few days we've seen Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya going back and forth a lot on social media, and Alex is kind of hinting that he wants that MMA trilogy. Do you have any indication, is he still wanting to go to 205, or is he maybe reconsidering to try to get that fight again?
First of all, I didn't even know that, but yeah, no, he's going to 205, yeah.
Any idea when we could see that debut?
No, none.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Dana, over here to your right.
Hey.
So May 20th, Aldana's out of the main event. Do you guys have a new main event for that card? May 20th, Aldana's out.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Raquel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't have another fight for that. Raquel's going to be the backup for that fight, and I don't know what we're doing there yet.
Okay, and then more immediately, or I guess rather not more
I
immediately.
thought you were telling me something I didn't know, and that Aldana was out of the fight. I was like, when the fuck did that happen? Nobody told me.
Definitely not. But tonight, Bilal's next. Do we have any progress with Leon and Colby?
No.
Dana White,
Yep.
Congratulations on a great night.
Thank you.
You packed the house in New Jersey, a Prudential Center. You came back, every fight delivered. How impressed were you with Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo taking that initiative to sell this fight and pretty much pack this house, or help pack this house?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a matter of those guys trying to sell the fight. I mean, if you are a fight fan, you realize that this was a great fight between two guys who stylistically match up very well. And the card was a fun card, and I love when they deliver. The fights were awesome tonight. From the first prelim, the second prelim, on throughout the rest of the night, the fights were great.
And how impressed were you with Gilbert Burns? He was obviously hurt, but he lasted all 5 rounds. He was fighting with essentially one hand. Like, how impressed were you with Gilbert Burns?
I'm always impressed with Gilbert Burns. His fight with Khamzat Chimaev was unbelievable. And then what he did in Miami a few weeks ago was unbelievable. And the fact that he wanted to turn around this fast, I have nothing but respect for that kid. And to think that he would fight with one shoulder is not shocking. He's an absolute savage.
And after the long layoff, Henry Cejudo obviously didn't fight since 2019. He took off his gloves at the end of the fight, and I got a little bit worried that he might be retiring, and he said he doesn't know what he wants. Are you going to try to talk him into staying and not, he had a great performance. Would you talk him out if he said he wanted to retire or he wanted to?
There's only been a couple guys I've tried to talk out of retiring at the time that they did. It was DC and Habib. Henry's been off for 3 years. He looked great tonight against a guy who's much bigger, much stronger. But that's up to him, whatever he wants. I mean, I don't think you should have retired the first time. But, if he decides to retire a second time, I probably wouldn't argue with him.
And when's the next time you're coming back to the East Coast? And I'm not afraid to beg.
Yeah, we're talking about Boston this summer. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Dana, over to your far right, way over here.
Yep.
I wanted to ask about a little incident we saw last weekend. Conor McGregor kind of came back a little bit. He was in the ring in another promotion in bare knuckle. What were your thoughts on Conor's activities that weekend?
Yeah, no, listen, few people have asked me this. When you're in the business like we're in the business, sometimes it's fun to just go and be a fan. And I think that's what Conor was doing that night. I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Have we any movement on when that Chandler fight is going to happen? I know we just saw the announcement that The Ultimate Fighter is going to air in a few weeks.
Yep.
Any more news?
We don't. Not yet, no.
And I wanted to ask as well, your business partner KSI back in the ring next week. Do you think he's going to win?
Who's he fighting?
Guy 9-0, Joe Fournier.
Interesting. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
After the fight, Merab Dvalishvili, he took Sean O'Malley's jacket. He's currently the #1 ranked bantamweight. What plans do you have for him for his next fight?
I don't know. He doesn't want to fight Aljo. You know what I mean? So I have no idea.
Was that fight offered?
What?
Him versus Aljo?
Oh, yeah. You could have that fight tomorrow. Yeah?
Dana, over here.
Yep.
Speaking of cross promotionals, I saw the UFC Twitter account retweeted a couple weeks ago a promotion from a skateboarding championship series.
Right.
There was a few connections we noticed. It was on Rumble, so with the slap fighting, there was that tit for tat, perhaps. And it turns out that Lorenzo Fertitta is one of the owners of that league or of one of the promotions in that. I'm not sure the exact details of that. What was the UFC's decision to do that? Was this like a favor for a friend? Does Endeavor have a part in this?
Lorenzo and I own it.
You're in part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We own a company called Throw One. We own Ridiculousness. We own SLS. We own Nitrous Circus. And we own Travis Pastrada's NRX rally car.
Okay. Didn't know that. So that's going to be just a staple in the cross promotion, like slap fighting has been the slap power league?
I don't know. If I feel like it, yes.
Fair. Also getting into the slap fighting promotion, not exactly how you probably envisioned it working in the bids. Some good, some bad. A lot of, publicity, negative, your own issues as well. How is this playing forward into the next season? We saw promotions of it on there.
It's been incredible. The deal that I just cut for Slap is bigger than the UFC deal we cut with Spike TV after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. I don't give a shit what the media says about it. They don't matter.
So money-wise, it's working out, is what you're saying, basically.
It's fucking unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable money-wise, it's been unbelievable as far as social media goes. We're number one in all of sports. And when I say all of sports, if you take the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, F1, WWE, and who am I forgetting, and added them all together, their numbers don't compare to Slap's. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems a little doubtful.
Yeah, you can doubt it all you want.
I mean, I was covering for the finale of it, and I saw the numbers on Rumble, and there were people watching, but...
There were people watching. It did 3.2 million viewers, and 1.7 million of them had never been to Rumble before.
Well, I was one of those, that's for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But it certainly, that number didn't show up on that counter that Rumble had.
But that's how it works when you stream. When it's streaming, it's not really the actual number right there. It's the same thing when you go live on Instagram. I mean, is Eric in here? What's like if you have a big number and you're streaming, how does that exactly work?
Kind of the same as you're saying. So we did
Right.
Instagram Live tonight for the walkout for the red corner for the main event. We had 21,000 concurrent. We don't have the total.
Yeah. So he was saying 21,000 concurrents. What's a massive number when you're streaming? I mean, we were the biggest stream on a Saturday for Slap. The good thing is that most of you guys don't understand social media and how it works. And what publication are you from?
MMA Mania.
Okay. I'll give you the numbers on Slap that were done by a third party that does this. We didn't pull the numbers. These guys are like the Nielsen's numbers for social media. We destroy everything in sports with Power Slap.
Okay. And are you at all concerned that some of it is perhaps, and I'll apologize in advance because it sounds a little rude, but
No, fire away.
Some of it might be laughing at, not with kind of a deal, like bad publicity being,
Do you think I give a shit?
That's
I
why
just
asked.
I just did a deal that's bigger than the UFC did when they went on Spike TV. I don't give a shit who's laughing. You know who's laughing? This guy.
There you go.
That's who's laughing.
That answered my question. Thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Dana, right here, just second row on your left.
Yeah.
Just wondering your thoughts on the atmosphere tonight in Newark and the fight week in general, and do you want to come back here?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's been a while since we've been here. We'll be in Atlantic City next. We'll be back in Jersey, and we're doing Atlantic City next. So we have a great relationship with the governor here. He's been awesome to us, and yeah, can't wait.
And then my other question is about Movsar Evloev. He got a good win in a close fight against Diego Lopez. Can you just talk about him, his potential, and what you think about him all around?
Yeah, no, he's a stud, man. Let me tell you what, that arm bar was deep and that knee bar was deep. And, he fought out of both of those. And, he's 17-0 now, and I'm excited to see him. Top 10, see where he ends up on Tuesday after the media, does their thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dana, congratulations on another fabulous card in the New York City area. November at the Garden has become a staple, but you've done 3 events in the last 9 months in the area. Any plans to go back to Long Island, maybe Brooklyn, maybe Newark, to do 2 events in this area once a year?
What's the question?
Any plans to do multiple events in the New York area outside of
Outside of Jersey? In New York, you mean?
the New York area?
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden is a
Absolutely.
thing.
Atlantic City, MSG, I don't. Other than that, I don't know right now. But those 2 for sure.
Okay, and a quick point. Aljo mentioned perhaps going to the Caribbean, having a King of the Islands thing. What do you think about going to the Caribbean?
I think that sounds fun, but highly unlikely. Yeah. I bet you my entire staff will want to work that event, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Aljo said the same thing.
Yeah, I would love it. Thank you, sir.
Dana, question.
Hey, buddy.
Henry was just so close tonight. Great main event. If he does stay, I know you guys had a brief conversation in the cage. If he does stay, what do you need to? It's hard to say, but two wins, 1 win, and he's right back in the title contention. How do you see his path if he doesn't retire?
It is tough to say. It would depend on who he fought, what weight class he was in, how he did. I mean, there's just a lot of ifs on something like that. But coming off a 3-year layoff like he has, and again, when you think about what an incredible athlete Henry Cejudo is, and he's coming off a 3-year layoff, and you look at this tough fight he was in tonight. And then you look at John Jones and what John Jones did. That's why you can't really say it enough how special and how incredible John. I know you asked me about Henry and I flipped this whole thing into a John Jones, but it's just so true. And one of the things about Jones too, for some reason I was thinking about this tonight during the fight. And like when he fought Alexander Gustafsson, it was the first time he'd ever been taken into deep water. And John, outside the cage, didn't make all the best decisions. And who knows how hard he really trained for that fight or what he was doing before that fight. But to dog it out the way that he did, it's just like, you think about all the great fights that happen and you think about the stuff that John Jones does, it's pretty special. I know I didn't answer your question, but this is where we ended up, sorry.
Dana, right down the middle over here. We haven't had an update on either Rose Namajunas or Dustin Poirier in a while. Do you have anything planned for them in the coming months?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys done with me? Go ahead, sir.
So this is the first time we've had Aljamain Sterling as the headliner of a pay-per-view, or really of any event, actually. So how do you feel about him as carrying an event here?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it was sold out, highest grossing event in the arena's history, sporting event. It was good. It was good. It was a good fight. I mean, people knew stylistically. I mean, the crowd, it's in his hometown and people were cheering for Henry. I don't know what that means, but yeah. At the end of the day, no matter what anybody thinks of either one of these guys, the one thing you did know that it would be a damn good fight.
One thing he's been trying to do for many years, as you know, is trying to get a fight in New York, and he's had some issues with the commissions and the medicals and that kind of thing. Is that something that you can kind of work with the commission for to try and kind of expedite things in any meaningful way to kind of, because he fights everywhere else?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we would. If he wants to fight in New York, we'd do everything we could to try to make it happen. I mean, but, the commission tells us what we're going to do. We don't tell them what we're going to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
One more thing about main events here. We are finally going to have a flyweight non-title main event for the first time in 6 years. Is that something you kind of realize as you're planning these events, that we really haven't gone to flyweight to headline these fight night cards?
No. Never crossed my mind at all.
There's a lot of demand for these fights. People like the flyweights. They're exciting. They're fun. Is that something you might think about planning more in the future?
What is your question? I'm confused by this.
To have more flyweight, headliners and that kind of thing, especially on fight night cards.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, just 2 quick follow-ups.
Yeah.
Speaking of bantamweights, do you know what the latest with Umar Nurmagomedov is?
Everybody's asking. Yeah, we were talking about him earlier. That's a guy not everybody's beating the door down to fight. So, yeah, we'll figure something out with him.
How difficult is it when you have guys like that it's really tough to get them their breakthrough fight?
100%, especially when, it's always hard when you have these guys that are in the top 10. When you start going 7, 6, 5, 4, and then this guy's behind. Nobody wants to take that risk on a guy that isn't ranked. It's tough. Those are the fights. Listen, those are the fights that publicly everybody says they'll take, but privately nobody wants to take them.
Yeah, and just last thing, I want to drop a stat for you. With Henry Cejudo's loss tonight, fighters who are over 35 below the welterweight division are 2-29 in
Holy
title
shit.
fights, and Tyron Woodley got both those wins. What does that kind of say about how difficult it is for aging fighters at the lower divisions?
Fascinating. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I never thought about it till right now, but yeah, it's interesting. Listen, I don't care who you are, how good you are, whatever the deal is. Taking 3 years off. Muhammad Ali was off for 3 years. He never looked the same when he came back. He was still great, still did amazing things, but never looked like he looked before he took 3 years off. It's tough to do. And I don't know. I mean, a lot of you guys in here are combat sports guys might know the answer to this, but who other than John Jones has taken 3 years off and come back and looked as incredible as he did? Go in there and finish a guy in the heavyweight division, a division in which he's never fought before, as quickly and as easily as he did.
Maybe George St. Pierre, but he had a tough time with Bisping too.
Yeah? I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever done it like John Jones.
Yeah, it's only the greatest ones ever, so
Yeah.
just to show. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Good night, everybody.